Hey guys. Okay, I just want to make a very quick video on choices and listening to your instinct and listening to science. Uh, I just watched a video now because I was doing research, and I watched a video of a doctor who was basically blasting the uh, industries that have created natural alternatives, or not so much even natural, just in general alternatives for vaginal hygienes, for vaginal infections, for vaginal whatever, everything, vaginal. Um, she was basically, discrediting them because, hey, guess what? The medical system failed us. I mean, you have to put things into perspective. If they're good at marketing their products and if they're good at selling, good on them. But the reason that they went there was because, yes, the medical system failed us. The reason that someone like me went and did escharotic treatment was because I went to the doctor and they didn't give me, number one, a good and in detail description of what LEAP surgery really was. In effect, they had left out information. They also never told me, only one gynecologist told me that I actually had a cervical inflammation. After going to that many gynecologists and struggling with HPV for, let's just say, almost 6 to 8 months before I went and did my escharotic treatment, you have three gynecologists, only one of them tell you that you've got an inflammation, a chronic inflammation. They don't describe the real risks with LEAP surgery or cone, doesn't matter. And then she gets offended at the fact that these companies, whether their products work or not is a different story, but she gets offended at the fact that women leave the medical industry to go to them because the medical industry failed them. Uh, it's very hard to make a choice, and it was. Put it this way, for me, being very pro-natural, I suppose it was easier. But at the same time, it wasn't very easy to make a decision to go see a chiropractor for a gynecological problem. A lot of people would have thought, are you crazy, right? You do your research and you make a choice based on that research. And that's really what it should be and how it should be. But for someone to get offended at the fact that you have struggled that much with the medical industry, then made a conscious choice to go and research or at least go try something else, an alternative, and then get judged for that and criticize those same people that actually potentially helped us, for me, that's just, you're taking the money away from me. Well, you didn't do your job properly. So had you done your job properly, had the industry supported you to support us, we wouldn't be looking for alternatives. Same thing happened when I had a bacterial vaginosis. 5 rounds or 6 rounds of antibiotics. I can't even remember anymore. I got vaginal atrophy, and what do they give me? They don't give me any response. They don't give me any answer. They base their diagnoses on studies. Well, I didn't have a choice. I actually had to go make myself a study, in effect, which I did. And so did a million other women. I mean, if it wasn't for my research and my, hit and miss and try this and try that, I still today would have had vaginal atrophy. I mean, that's ridiculous for a person at the age of 33. Back then it was, I can't even remember how old I was, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that's shocking for me. And then you judge those same people that have contributed to our health, really, at the end of the day. So what I wanted to say is this. If you are struggling to make a choice with, for example, do I do escharotics? Do I get a biopsy? Because I have seen 2, 3. Do I just go do the escharotics? What if I maybe have cancer? Just because they're doctors, it doesn't mean that they know everything. And clearly they don't know everything, because you're already in a dilemma in terms of choosing whether you're going to do a LEAP or escharotics, for example. So that's your first sign. My suggestion and advice is, once you have done your research, if there is ample examples and evidence, I mean, evidence to the extent that you can realistically analyze and say, yes, okay, this isn't lies on the internet. These are genuine women on inspire.com that have given their accounts and that have definitely experienced, for example, escharotics. Okay, that can't be a lie, it can't be dodgy, it can't be this. Based on that, if you feel, just because they don't have a title, for example, Nick Leroy he's not a gynecologist, but by experience he is. He probably knows much more than a gynecologist, than any gynecologist that I've been to. Like, this is what we're used to, social status giving us security. I mean, well, approved social status or approved social norms, giving us security. Okay, so he's got a title of being a doctor. Okay, he's an MD. He's a doctor. Trust him. But you trust them and then they ruin your life and then you're the one that has to deal with it. This is what I'm trying to say. So you have to trust yourself and your instinct and your research. Don't let anyone tell you that you're stupid, that you're illiterate, that what are you talking about? You're a conspiracy theorist, you're nuts, you're crazy, which is everything that we have experienced, the women that have gone to do escharotics, particularly with someone like Nick Leroy. Right? He's a chiropractor. And yes, it is a very extreme risk, I would say. But it's not a risk when you've done your research. When you have seen thousands of women on Inspire.com that have said, wow, it doesn't even have to be Nick Leroy. It can be someone else. It doesn't even matter. But the treatment works. Escharotics works. How is that? Like, I mean, you can't discredit that. You cannot, these are studies. So in absence of formal, like I said, those socially approved studies, which, let me tell you, many of them can be falsified and have been falsified to accommodate the results for a capitalist purpose, and that is to make more profit, yeah? So it doesn't matter if I am potentially going to ruin your life, or there's a very large chance that I might ruin your life. Let's get this out on the market. Let's market this the right way and let's make a massive profit. So money talks. Money definitely talks. And when you're taking away money from those gynecologists, they get offended. Well, like I said, it's not my fault that your industry doesn't choose to look at escharotics as an alternative and acknowledge it and take it in as a form of treatment for cervical dysplasia and HPV. But they obviously make way much more money than you would from, for example, escharotics. Because once you do escharotics, you really are genuinely over and done with it, with HPV and the cervical dysplasia. So my advice again, do your research, trust your instinct. Based on that research that you have done, make your choice. Do not rely on social status and social approved status or acknowledgement. For example, don't rely on the MD in front of his name or behind his name or her name, whatever, and think that everything's going to be fine. Yeah, maybe. Yes, they are knowledgeable. But there is many barriers within the medical system. They choose not to experiment, I would say, or at least acknowledge. Right now, for example, escharotics, that's been, we can clearly say that it's a proven treatment. I would love to know how many women have done the escharotic treatment. I would love to know how many. Because there is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them over the last 30 years. So anyways, that's just what I wanted to say.